Get ready for a jaw-dropping mystery that's still leaving us speechless 10 years on. On March 8, 2014, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 vanished into thin air after taking off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport bound for Beijing Capital International Airport in China. The last words we have from the plane, a haunting goodnight. Today, a groundbreaking discovery finally uncovers the secret resting place of this infamous flight. Buckle up as we dive into the incredible truth behind the world's most baffling aviation enigma and uncover how clues to what happened were hiding in plain sight all along. Let's set the stage for MH370's fateful journey. This Boeing 777, the 404th of its kind, had been making waves since its first flight on May 14, 2002, and officially joined Malaysia Airlines just a week later, on May 31st. With two powerful Rolls-Royce engines under its belt and room for up to 282 passengers, this aircraft seemed to be the epitome of safety and comfort. Its track record, spotless, except for one tiny blip, a minor wingtip mishap during taxiing in Shanghai back in 2012. But don't let that fool you. The plane underwent thorough maintenance checks just days before its disappearance, including an A-check on February 23rd and a routine crew oxygen system refill on March 7th, both revealing zero issues. It was as if MH370 had a clean bill of health, ready to take on its ill-fated journey from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing on that fateful morning of March 8th. Little did anyone know, everything was about to take a drastic turn. Get ready for the moment MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur's runway 32R at 4:02 a.m. local time, a routine morning departure that would change course in ways no one could have anticipated. The plan was clear: reach 18,000 feet and cruise at flight level 180. As it lifted off the ground, air traffic control gave the green light for the crew to ascend. Now, let's talk about who was behind the controls. Interestingly, the first officer handled initial communications while the captain took over once they were airborne. After a quick handoff from airport ATC to Lumpur radar, MH370 entered the en route phase of its journey, tuning into the designated frequency for air traffic control over peninsular Malaysia and nearby waters. By 4:26 a.m., Lumpur radar cleared the flight to climb up to flight level 350. Just another routine update in what was supposed to be a smooth and uneventful journey to Beijing. Now we dive into what's often called the final moments of MH370, a sequence of events that would leave aviation authorities stunned and puzzled for years to come. At 1:01 a.m. local time, MH370 reached flight level 350, and the crew confirmed this status with Lumpur radar. Just 7 minutes later, at 1:08 a.m., an automated message was sent out through the aircraft's communication system, providing a snapshot of the plane's position, including how much fuel they had left, a crucial piece of data that would raise questions in the days ahead. As for verbal updates, Captain Zahari gave his final words to air traffic control at 1 hour and 19 minutes into the flight, acknowledging the handoff from Lumpur radar to Ho Chi Minh ACC as MH370 entered Vietnamese airspace. But what happened next is even more intriguing. As expected, the aircraft should have made contact with ATC in Vietnam, but that never materialized. In fact, it was another pilot trying to reach Flight 370 on an international distress frequency just after 1:30 a.m. who discovered something disturbing: complete silence from the missing plane. The mystery deepens as we explore what happened next with MH370. The pilot's attempt to connect with Flight 370 on that international distress frequency wasn't just a routine call. It was actually a message from Vietnamese air traffic control asking the crew to make contact. But instead of receiving clear responses, the captain reported hearing only muffled sounds and static, leaving him wondering if they'd lost signal altogether. The search for answers continued with more attempts at 1:30, 9 and 7:13 a.m. LAR, but these too went unanswered by the cockpit. Meanwhile, the aircraft's satellite data unit did acknowledge these calls, sending out a message that would be picked up later on. But the crew of Flight 370 was nowhere to be found in any of their communications. As the hours ticked by and no one could get through to them, the reality set in. MH370 had vanished without sending out a distress signal. Control centers from all over Southeast Asia frantically tried to re-establish contact, but it was as if Flight 370 had just disappeared into thin air. The search for answers took off as investigators pored over every clue. And one crucial piece of evidence came from Inmarsat, a UK-based satellite telecommunications company that had been receiving signals from MH370's onboard communication system. These automated hourly messages, known as handshakes, showed the plane was still trying to make contact, but they didn't give away the aircraft's location. What they did provide, though, were vital data points on how far the plane was from the satellite, which is where things got really interesting. By using a phenomenon called the Doppler effect, Inmarsat experts were able to track changes in frequency and calculate how far MH370 was from their satellites at each handshake. This groundbreaking analysis would ultimately play a huge role in piecing together what happened to Flight 370. So how did investigators use this Doppler data to narrow down their search? They realized the frequency shift in the satellite signals held the key. By analyzing these shifts, Inmarsat experts were able to plot out possible flight paths for MH370 based on its distance from the satellite at each hourly handshake. These arcs essentially showed where the plane might have been at each communication point. It was a mathematical puzzle that helped investigators zoom in on a specific area of interest, the southern Indian Ocean, thousands of kilometers west of Australia. The data suggested the plane kept flying for hours after vanishing from radar screens and eventually ran out of fuel. But here's the thing. This analysis didn't confirm a crash, just provided strong evidence pointing to the ocean floor as a possible resting place for what was left of MH370. But here's where things took a dark and intriguing turn. No debris had been found to confirm our worst fears about MH370, and that raised a chilling question: was this just an accident or something more? As investigators dug deeper into the pilot's background and activities, their attention landed on something unexpected: Zahari Ahmad Shah's home flight simulator. We're talking cutting-edge tech here, not just any toy, but a powerful tool for pilots to hone their skills in realistic scenarios. What types of routes had Zahari practiced or accessed? Were there any clues hidden within the simulator's data that could reveal his intentions on that fateful day? The hard drive was pored over by experts searching for answers. But you know what they say about secret side? Sometimes, the ones we want to uncover remain hidden. Official statements were tight-lipped about the findings from Zahari's simulator, fueling theories and speculation about a deliberate act that would change the course of this investigation forever. Fast forward to 2016, a bombshell dropped from within Malaysia's own police investigation into MH370's disappearance. Evidence surfaced that Zahari had been flying his simulator on a route eerily similar to the doomed flight's presumed path, just weeks before takeoff. The confidential document revealed that the FBI had done some serious digging on Zahari's home turf. They recovered deleted data from his flight simulator's hard drive and pieced together flight parameters like altitude, speed, and direction in the crucial days leading up to the tragedy. It seemed our pilot was taking the virtual controls for a spin, manually programming a trajectory that mirrored the plane's potential route over the southern Indian Ocean. But here's the thing, even with this damning evidence, it wasn't enough to pin the blame on Zahari just yet. He remained an innocent man in the eyes of the law, and the world was still reeling from the search for MH370. The quest to find MH370 kicked off in the South China Sea, where it vanished from radar screens. A dramatic starting point for one of the most extensive searches in aviation history. But as satellite data analysis revealed some unexpected twists, investigators began to suspect that something far more sinister was at play. Could the plane have taken an unscheduled detour? This tantalizing possibility prompted a massive overhaul of the search zone, shifting the focus to the vast expanse of the southern Indian Ocean. It wasn't a solo effort. Countries from around the world joined forces, pooling their resources to aid in the hunt for MH370. Australia took the reins, while Malaysia, China, the US, and others contributed ships, planes, and cutting-edge tech. The search parties scoured the seas using satellite imagery, sonar scanners, aerial surveys, and even chasing down debris leads. But despite covering an enormous area over 3 long years, they came up empty-handed. It was time to call it quits in January 2017. Australia, Malaysia, and China announced that the underwater search for MH370 had reached its conclusion. The official search may have wrapped up years ago, but the mystery of MH370 refuses to rest. While governments consider this incident a tragic loss, with all on board presumed dead, private organizations continued to dig deep for answers. Now, a fresh lead is emerging thanks to a dedicated member of the MH370 independent group, Richard Godfrey. He's been crunching numbers using a unique approach, tapping into weak signal propagation reports from amateur radio enthusiasts. And what he found could change everything. Godfrey's analysis points to a potential new search zone in the southern Indian Ocean, roughly 2,000 kilometers west of Perth, Australia. This targeted area is a tiny fraction of the massive 120,000 square kilometer sweep conducted back in 2017. An astonishing 18,000 square kilometers. Could this finally be the break we've been waiting for to solve one of aviation's greatest enigmas? You guys, we might be on the cusp of a major breakthrough in the MH370 mystery. Richard Godfrey's innovative analysis of WSPR signals has shed new light on where this missing plane could be hiding, and it's not where anyone expected. By tuning into these weak signals, he detected anomalies that hint at a large object interfering with them, potentially pointing to MH370 itself. But here's the thing: his findings align with satellite data and drift modeling, showing the plane's likely flight path after radar contact was lost. Essentially, this means we might have been looking right past it all along because of signal interference. Now that we've narrowed down the search zone to just 18,000 square kilometers, the question is, will justice finally be served for the 239 people on board? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video as captivating as I do, smash that like button and subscribe for more gripping